Hey everyone, I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and in this video I am talking about the Snyder Cut version of Justice League. If you have not seen the movie, I do want to tell you to stop watching because I will give a couple of spoilers and I do not want to be the reason you're spoiled for any part of the movie. Now, I am a self-proclaimed Marvel girl. I do like Marvel better. However, I am a big Batman fan. I do like Batman. And I do like the Joker. I do like Batman's villains. So I'm always kind of let me see what they play around with anytime there's a Batman movie. I've watched every Batman movie probably known to man. Even like the show when it was like Adam West and it was really like cringy and cheesy. I watched it because again, Batman's pretty dope. Anyway, before I get into my thoughts about it, the breakdown, and what I like and dislike, I do want to take the time to thank the universe for Jason Momoa. Now that sounds really weird. You're like, Katrina, why? And I'm just like, first of all, do you not see that man? That is a fine man, and he just gave me some more screen time, and I'm just like, thank you, universe, for this. So thank you, Jason Momoa, just for being you and looking amazing. And I'm a little annoyed we didn't get more talking time, but it's fine, it's cool. I got to see you looking fine, and that's fine. It's fine. Like, thank you, universe. So I was very apprehensive about watching this movie because of how bad 2017 was. And I know people like to debate me about this sometimes because I do tend, when I watch most things, I like things to somehow make sense, cohesive enough that I'm like, okay, this is a fictional world, but your fictional world can still make sense. I don't like when things don't make sense. I don't like when things, I'm sitting here like, wait, what? And I'm just question mark, question mark, question mark. You know, Nick Young from the NBA, that whole meme with the white shirt and the question marks around him. I don't like feeling that way when I'm watching something. That's how I felt watching Justice League in 2017. I had no idea what was happening. It made absolutely no sense. It was completely incohesive. Nothing made sense. And now that I see the parts that were added back, or rather reshot, whatever the case may be, I'm kind of annoyed we even got that crap in 2017. So the movie starts off with Superman dying from BVS, and Zack does it in a slow-mo version when you can see how like gut-wrenching it is. And maybe you guys don't care about Superman dying. Maybe you don't like Superman. And that's perfectly fine if you feel that way. However, for me, if you're trying to drag me into something I'm already about watching, I felt the emotional grabs right away to have it start off with him dying. It's like, damn, well, this sucks. And I feel like, as we know, he does return. It makes him brought back to life matter a little bit more because we really see like how sad it was, not only for Lois Lane, but we see like he was hurting and he was in pain, and the scream was so powerful that you heard it throughout the world. To the fact that the mother boxes, which is a really important part of this movie, is affected. We see Lex Luthor when he still had his hair. We see the Amazonians like holding the box for like 5,000 years, like still, you know, watching the box, watching it shake. And then we see the third box, which is with Cyborg. And this is the first time we get to see Cyborg as how important he is for this version of the film. The box is shaking and making sounds, and you see Cyborg kind of off, like the camera has the box a little bit behind him. And this is the first time we realize just how important Cyborg is, which I was very, very happy with Cyborg's, you know, whole appeal in this movie. So let me get into the character differences that I did appreciate. First, Batman. Now, I'm going to admit that I'm slightly a little biased because I don't like Ben Affleck. I feel like he's a great writer, he can direct, but his acting always just makes me all the time. Every time he acts, I just feel like he's leaving something for me. Like, okay, like, can you give me more? And maybe that's just me and people might love him. And I remember the whole, like, people was having the whole, like, they were signing lists or whatever, like petitions to stop him. And why I didn't go that far because it's never that serious for me. I just don't like him as Batman, and I want to, and I wanted to, but no, I just saw his face and I'm just like annoyed and agitated. So I am admitting that some of my reasoning for Batman's a bit biased because I don't like Ben Affleck. I don't think he's the best Batman. I don't care what anybody says, and you guys could argue with like somebody else that's not me, because nothing you guys will say will change my mind about how I feel about Ben Affleck. I don't like him. However, he is still the leader in a sense. He is the one getting everybody together. He's the one trying to find it. You know, Alfred's helping him. And I appreciated that in a bit, some of the lines was like, he seemed more remorseful in this movie. He said that that was his friend he was fighting with aside. I'm like, bro, let's not, like, this is like when somebody, you know, like that Squidward meme when you see Squidward watching people out of the window and you see Patrick and SpongeBob running, he's watching from a distance. That's the kind of friend I got for Ben Affleck. Like, bro, that's not like you were best friends in Kumbaya, bro. You was trying to kill Superman because you were mad at what happened in his movie. And you was watching and some of your people died and the guy from your company died, the security guard. And why I totally understand being upset, because yes, the whole battle between Superman and, you know, where we saw why Batman was mad in BVS, I totally understand it. People died, but let's be real, Batman. You telling me you were solving crimes and kicked people ass for 20 years and you didn't, somebody didn't die accidentally because of you, or you didn't destroy somebody's building accidentally? Like, bro, you are just as bad, if not worse, than any other hero in any comic book fictional world. So how are you this upset that you want so hard to kill Superman? It's like a whole thing I could rant on, and I won't. But this is why, like, when he was saying, like, he was remorseful, and I'm like, but are you, though? Because you're a smart guy. Like, you're so smart, but it's like, oh, he's the billionaire, and he's smart. Yeah, so, bro, why didn't you realize, like, maybe actually you to go to grief counseling or something, and maybe you wouldn't have been so angry. Like, you're the reason why Superman died. Your actions caused this. So that annoys me. I still feel a way about that, kind of how people feel about Star-Lord and Avengers, and you're the reason. That's how I feel with Batman. You're the reason Superman died. But I guess they gave him some remorse and he was sorry. And I was like, I guess you're trying to make it right. And I totally understand that, I guess, to an extent. But I did like that he seemed a lot less, like, he was still annoying to me, but he was a lot less annoying in this version. Like, he was still doing his thing, but they didn't make it like it was so over the top, like Ben Affleck Batman in my face. So I'll just give a thumbs up, I guess, for that, because I wasn't, like, super annoyed. I mean, I guess whatever. Now, as for Wonder Woman, I thought the first Wonder Woman movie was amazing. I was not a fan of Wonder Woman 84. Something about it, there were things that just didn't gel for me. I wasn't really a fan of Kristen Wiig as the villain. I felt like the villains got off too easily in this movie, and I get that you can't have everything super, like, dark or whatever, and I understand that, but the part that made me fall in love with Wonder Woman with her solo movie was how badass she was and how badass the rest of the Amazonians were. And they were so badass in this Justice League. Like, even when they showed the prequel battle when they was doing this before with Steppenwolf and the boxes before, they were so badass. And even though the box was taken from them, the way her mom was just ready, like, we gonna defend this box, and how they was just ready to do this for each other was just so great. And the scene where she's saving the people in the bank, and then the little girl says to her, I want to be just like you, and she's like, you can be whatever you wanted to be. I thought that was perfect. I'm not sure why the line was taken out from the first one, because if you want kids to, like, look up to these things, like these are heroes to them, then it's nice to have a woman that a little girl can look up to too. So I thought it was a good line. I don't know why it was taken out. I thought it was amazing. And I do know, like, there was some behind-the-scenes friction with Wonder Woman and doing the reshoots. And I do understand. I do felt like, in a bit, while I did like how badass they did show her when she was on screen, I do felt like they did diminish her time a bit. And I'm guessing that's what I'm speculating here. I'm only speculating. I'm assuming she was kind of annoyed with the reshoots because she wasn't as, like, she's, like, mainly part of the leadership. Like, she was, like, taking control and kicking ass and working with the plans the way she had it, and it did feel like she was a bit diminished. So I didn't like that. But I do like that some of the crap that was happening in 2017 they got rid of. Like, we didn't need to have, like, the really weird jokes, and that wasn't necessary. Totally unnecessary. So I totally like that. I do appreciate that part of, you know, of the movie. So let's get into Cyborg. Cyborg in the original version of it was like some random side character, even though he was supposed to be a part of the team. I felt like this was like the only negative I have about it is I felt like it was too much Cyborg, and I get that it was supposed to be his story because he's like the one with like all this technology. He was created by the Mother Box, and I totally understand that. But this is also a Justice League movie. So because DC didn't give the time to give everybody their solo movies to kind of prepare them for the meet-up movie, like at least with the Avengers, before we got the Avengers' first meet-up movie, they had solo movies, so we can kind of build off the fact that these are their personal lives, this is their arc starting, and how are we going to close this arc by the meet-up movie. Justice League just gave them up, they just threw them together and was like, oh, here you go. So I get that Cyborg needed his origin story. I totally understand that. And I was grateful that he got the screen time. He was definitely the heart of this movie. The scene where he helps the mom who was the struggling waitress, and she like had no money, and she's traveling the bus, and even though she has the money, she's giving money to the homeless, and then she got evicted. And I like that. It was a bit creepy that he kind of watched the whole progression, because I'm like, all right, you watched like this is how like you see on like the ID channel when people like somebody dies and like they're watching all the cameras in the area. So I thought it was a little weird, but it was still a nice gesture with regards that he got the money from the ATM for her so she can have money for her and her children. And it was raining, and I was like, that was a really sweet thing. I appreciate that, even though he was dealing with whatever he was dealing with the fact that he lost his mom, his dad wasn't really around with him growing up. He also was kind of angry that his dad turned him into this Borg type thing. So I thought it was a great distinction between like he was still trying to be kind and he still knew he kind of had to save humanity, but he also had, you know, his demons. I feel like every character have the demons or things they have to get past to become a better person by the end. I would say I didn't like that he seemed a little too like broody, and that's broody. And that's okay to an extent, but I felt like even towards the end when he was feeling better, he was still kind of like that. And like the line, I think when he says, "You're welcome to Aquaman," and I'm like, dude, you're not Superman, you're not Batman. Calm that down just a little bit with regards to you're welcome. Just do your thing, and you don't need. I felt like it came off a bit arrogant in a way, and I felt like even when he seemed like he was in a better space, he seemed still really angry, and I didn't really like that part. But I did love that he got more screen time. I did love that they gave him more of an opportunity to show what he could do, and he was so intricate and important to not only like trying to figure out with regards to the boxes, and like he had one of the boxes, so like you was like the regular person from this time with the box, while the Amazonians and the Atlanteans had the boxes for thousands and thousands of years. So I thought that was pretty amazing. I'm so mad that they took him out of the original version, because it's like he legit was like intricate to every part of the story for the movie. So I thought that was pretty cool to have as well. Now let me get to Aquaman. Now you guys again know I do love me some Aquaman. I do love me some Jason Momoa. So I was glad they got rid of some of the weird lines he was saying in the first version, where he kind of made a reference that he was depressed and he was a bit horny, and I'm like, we don't need, like, okay, that's weird. We don't really need that. We didn't need that part in the movie for him to still be important. I felt like I did like the chemistry between him and Victor, Cyborg. Like, they had really good chemistry. When he was talking to Wonder Woman, Diana, it just, like, I felt like there was one thing I did like about Wonder Woman 2, she was able to kind of play off everybody, and it seemed like she was generally their friend, and she was generally trustworthy and generally honest, and I did appreciate that about her. I did appreciate that about the character. I did like that they got more backstory as far as why was this a weird relationship between Aquaman and between the Atlanteans, and why he felt the way he felt when he got his solo movie. My issue was I hated that Atlantis just looked so drab and like depressed, and I get that this was a serious movie and this was a serious thing with humanity and for all the worlds around, and I totally understood that. But even with Aquaman's arisen with James Wan, and I get two different directors, two different visions, Atlantis is always described as this place where even if stuff is happening there, it's a beautiful place, and I just felt like it was just so depressed and so sad. And I'm like, all right, if you want to explain the area where they're watching the mother box being a bit drab, well, that makes sense. You've been holding this for like thousands of years. That makes sense to me. But I felt like even when they showed William Dafoe's character and they showed Mera, and I really don't give a crap about Amber Heard, because, you know, I think hope she like gets out of DC personally. But I just felt like they were so like drab looking, and it felt off to me when it was so how glorious Atlantis was supposed to be. And I felt like that took, I get like his vision made it just look so dreary, and I don't really particularly cared for that. But I did like seeing again Aquaman on the screen. I did like the moments where he seemed like he was generally part of the team. Like once he got in his head like, I'm gonna join and help you guys, he was generally a part of the team, and I really appreciated that. With regards to Barry Allen, aka The Flash, I really enjoyed his opening scene with him trying to apply to be a dog groomer or pet groomer at this pet shop, and like he was like so like messy, and like his resume was in his pocket and it was all messed up, and I was sure he wasn't getting the job after that. Like, bro, you didn't try for this. Like, you just could have at least had your resume like on a folder or something. So I liked if that was like a little funny, and I did like his meet cute with Iris West. And if you don't know what a meet cute is when you meet your romantic interest for the first time, and you guys lay eyes on each other for the first time. A lot of romance writers like me and other people who like romance movies use the meet cute as the first time somebody meets their love interest. So I thought it was a really cute and earnest moment. Like, she was about to get killed, because she probably would have got killed in the car accident, because the poor freaking, not even poor, because he was ridiculous for eating the burger and dropping it and trying to find it while he's driving a truck. That's insane to me. Should have personally got locked up for that shenanigans, but whatever, what do I know, right? Anyway, he saves her from being killed, and they have the nice slow-mo. He put the like hot dog in his pocket, which I was slightly worried. I was like, what if they have him do something really weird where he like slaps her in the face with the hot dog, and you'd be like, all right, we don't need that. So I was glad that he just saved her and they got looked at each other and you're like, okay, I see it. Like, if we get a future Flash movie, get her up in there. Let's see this happen. Let's see this work. So I appreciated that. I appreciated him going back into the pet shop with the hot dog saying, I gotta always have one because, you know, the dogs get nervous. And I thought, like, well, if you didn't have the job before, you should have it now. Like, you was able to get the dogs to, like you and play with you. And the lady is so confused. And I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was funny. Another thing, for most part, most of his scenes did stay the same. But what I did like was that the scene when him and Victor are getting Superman's body, and it was very, like, quiet. And I feel like if you're digging up somebody's body, it should not be jokes. It shouldn't be like something supposed to be like, let's put a really random joke in there to make it funny or lighthearted. And the scene where you're picking up somebody who was, like, again, opened up with it being so devastating, there should be some kind of respect to digging up somebody's body. And I felt like when he said, give him a second, and Victor kind of just, like, was like, yeah, he agreed. That was them kind of honoring Superman and respecting who he was to the world. And I thought that was a pretty good, like, touch to that scene, you know? Other noticeable differences was, again, the plot. Instead of them just fighting, you know, Steppenwolf just because, in this version, Steppenwolf is pretty much doing all this for Darkseid. You know, Darkseid is, like, really main DC villain. So I thought that was pretty cool. I liked the new way his, you know, his, like, armor, I'm going to assume this was armor, thought it was pretty cool. And why I'm not really fond of people going that hard for a villain, that they're doing all of this to, like, get in the good graces. I understand people do that. Like, regular people do things to get in people's good graces. So I understood the, like, psychology behind that. I did like that it really showed Lois Lane grieving. Her waking up, drinking coffee, and making her trip to the monument where Superman was. I related to, because I did lose somebody some years ago, and the, like, trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces with your life afterwards, trying to figure out, like, this person's gone, for me was just like, oh, this is relatable. I totally get this. I totally understand. I thought they did that very well. As for Superman, I actually, like, this is again me, I liked the whole black suit thing. I liked that he was, like, you know, he seemed angry, and I'm like, he died not only being the nonsense with Lois and the not, you know, in regards to, like, not knowing she was being okay, but Batman was doing some shenanigans before he died. Like, this is what he has left of. So him, like, a small part of me, I was watching it, and when he was, like, giving his laser beams to Batman, and he was just like, oh, Clark, no. And I was like, I would have been perfectly fine if he would have just, you know, Batman right there, he would have offed him. I would be like, you know what, I'm fine. I don't care. I wouldn't have felt how I felt when Tony Stark died in Avengers. I was devastated. When Logan died in the Logan movie, which I have not watched more than once because of that, I was devastated. I would not have cared if Superman would have just kept going and just, like, zoom and X-ray chop him up and laser him up. Whatever he would have done, I would have been perfectly fine with it because I do not like Ben Affleck Batman. But I digress because, you know, that sounds weird. I would be that person. Anyway, I was really okay with it for the most part, and I felt like he had more of a role with the way the movie ended. I like that him and Victor kind of worked together to kind of stop the world for the moment of being destroyed. So this is the parts, like I said, the things that I just really didn't understand. I felt like we got 4 epilogues, so 4 endings. So they fight at the Russian warehouse. They, you know, stop things from happening at that moment. And then you see them standing at the end, and I'm like, all right, this is the end. And then I found out we had 20 more minutes. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is not the end. We got 20 more minutes of this 4-hour movie. We see them, Cyborg, making peace with everything that's happened with, like, he was able to re-put together the tape thing he broke apart in the movie. And he listened to what his father said. I feel like he finally forgave his father. You know, it was a better space for him. And I appreciated that. He was more proud of being Cyborg. You see Diana, you know, and do what the Amazonians is with the arrow, and I feel like she's gonna do, you know, whatever things that has come up for her. I liked seeing, you know, so we see Batman get the bat signal, and, you know, he's still gonna be fighting crime. We see Aquaman more in tune with doing what he was doing with not only the Atlanteans but the people he was helping on Earth. So that was cool. Superman, you see him, like, I'm assuming he had the glasses and the suit that maybe he was going to, like, do reporting, which feels weird now because technically, if I don't know, it just felt weird that he went back to, like, his normal. It just seemed weird after all of that to me personally. But it was nice to see him, like, you know, end it with him opening up his shirt and you see the Superman S. So I'm like, all right, this is the ending. This is fine. But oh no, we get ending number 3. Now, yes, Marvel is good for giving spoilers at the end of the first half of the credits. We get that after credit scene. Zack Snyder did not give us an after credit scene. He gave us ending number 3. So we see Lex Luthor escaped prison from Arkham. He is now living lavish on this boat, you know, bald Lex Luthor. And you see him talking to Deadshot. And apparently everybody and their mom know who Bruce Wayne is. I'm just like, so y'all just all okay with everybody knowing, like, Batman's all types of smart, and yet everybody and their mama know your identity. Everybody know you like Bruce is Batman. And I'm just like, so we're okay with we're okay with everybody just knowing, okay, I mean, I guess best Batman who can't keep his identity secret. Everybody knows he's Batman, even though it's been 20 years, and that's fine and dandy, and that's fine and all. But still, bro, the most important part of being a superhero outside of doing good is to keep your identity safe. And I'm just like, oh, so yeah, just like gonna, okay. And I was glad to see the homie Joe, because I like Joe, and he was Deadshot. I was like, you know what, I'm okay with this. I'm all right with him with the little gray hair and little, I was like, all right, bro, do your thing. But apparently everybody knows who, and I'm just like, so Bruce Wayne and whatever, because again, it's not canon, so we're not gonna really see anything out of this, but I'm just like, but why? Did we really need this ending? Did we need this extra added? No, but he gave it to us. And then, oh, here's ending number 4, which really annoyed me. So there's the dream sequence that everybody who told me before I watched the movie, oh, it's amazing. And I absolutely hate when people overhype something to the point where you're just like, why are we doing this? So I was like, okay, let's see what here's the dream sequence that didn't fit where it was. But here's the next ending. So you see the dream sequence, and you see Batman is there with Mera, because apparently Arthur is dead. And you see him with Cyborg, and you see older looking Flash. He has like the whole facial hair thing happening. And you see Deadshot, and oh, we see Jared Leto's Joker. Now, there was good exchange between them to an extent. Like, it was like, all right, this gave me comic book exchange between Batman and Joker, and I was okay with it. But then he mentioned alternate timelines. I was like, do we need to really have that in this? Like, you're trying to stop some world thing happening right now. Do you have time for an alternate timeline reference in this conversation? It did seem like they just added it in there. The whole Injustice storyline, I guess we were getting with Superman was pretty much like, it implied that Lois Lane dies and he turns evil because Superman turns evil because Lois Lane died. And I'm like, so you're telling me, like, I get he loves his Lois because he loves his Lois, and who don't want a man just love you and protect you like this? Of course you want that sometimes. And I'm not saying women can't be independent and save themselves, because of course they can, but you still, like, it's nice to have somebody like, oh, I got you, boo, I got you. So we know Superman loves Lois, we understand all that, but I was like, so you're telling me of all the things that happened, like, you died, bro, this is more hurtful than, like, okay, I mean, I guess this is the reason. Like, I feel like there was no build up to the fact, like, how is this, Batman, how the hell was this where your dream sequence went, where you're just like, this is the really bad case worse, and then you killed off my boo Aquaman too, so I'm like, ew, like, okay, why do he gotta... And I get there was the whole thing, like, Wonder Woman was dying too, and Aquaman kind of got, like, demolished, and I was like, oh, okay, but it's, at the way it ended, where everything seemed to have ended on a good note, how, and the only person who seemed affected after the whole Lex Luthor scene was Batman, how are we getting this whole, the thing with the world is so devastated that Batman's just kicking everybody's ass? And I think there was a Green Lantern, like, one of the Green Lanterns, like, appearances too, and I'm like, so okay, I mean, I guess. I mean, I felt like it was unnecessary. I get people loved it, but I just didn't understand why it was at the end. I felt like to call something a cut is like I feel like there's another name for, like, he should have just said this was Zack Snyder's, like, Justice League. There's nothing to say Snyder's cut when you put a 4-hour movie together, because you didn't cut anything, bro. You cut nothing. You kept everything in there. It's like you wrote draft 1. It was like, you know what, guys, I love everything. Let's film it. That's what I got from all the extra endings, because that's what that was to me. It wasn't like, we didn't need 4 epilogues. We didn't even honestly need the background parts of saying part 1, part 2, because it was like 20 minutes in part 1. It's 20 minutes. We don't need this to be differentiated to part 1. Just tell the damn story, bro. Like, I felt like that was unnecessary. I did feel like there was too many parts that was slowed down way too much for my liking, and I'm like, all right, bro, this is way too slowed down. And I felt like I was watching 300, and I love 300, but it just, everything didn't need to be this depressing, and everything didn't need to be this slow every few seconds. It's like, slow-mo, let's go. And I felt like that was a bit annoying. Again, I did like some of the lines with Jared Leto and Batman, and that was great, but some parts wasn't necessary. The home G sequence we did not need. We didn't need it, especially since Zack Snyder did say this is not canon. Then why? You just like, let's give fans everything. That was fan service. That whole dream sequence with Jared Leto was fan service. It was just to make the fans like, here you go, fans. Nobody can try to argue me that made sense to put it there. We also got a little appearance from Martian Manhunter. He did appear early in the film when he was talking to Lois as Superman's mom, Martha Kent. He like appeared to Lois like that, but it was him. And then he comes to talk to Bruce Wayne and said, "Oh, you know, war is coming, and you know, be prepared." Then Bruce Wayne was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess I'll see you around," and that was nice, but wasn't necessary. No, it wasn't necessary. Like I said, I really didn't need that dream sequence. I didn't need that part. However, with all of this being said, I would say that it took my opinion of the movie being from like a 4 to about a 6.5. Like, it was not a 10 by no means, because there were parts that were very much the same. There were things that were more fleshed out. Yes, their action sequences made more sense. The dialogue in certain parts of the movie made a lot more sense in this version. Yes, it did. But to say this was like a perfect 10 movie, no, it wasn't. I wouldn't even give it an 8. No, I want to say a 6.5 to a 7 for me. Like, you went up to from a 4 because it was horrendous before, and this redeemed it a bit. But it wasn't like something I'm like, I can like, oh my god, I can watch it 100 times. I'm sitting watching, because again, it was 4 hours. It wasn't necessary to be 4 hours long. He could have cut some parts out. I was told he took 20 minutes out, and you could have took probably the whole hour out, honestly, if we're being honest. But for the most part, I did like it a lot better than the original. You guys, I know the video was kind of long, but it's a 4-hour movie, so I try to like cram everything quickly enough where it made sense. You guys tell me in the comments your thoughts, how you feel about this version. Does this mean I know we're not getting any more, you know, Snyder versions unless they randomly change all of that, but tell me your thoughts, comments. How do you feel about this version? Your favorite parts, your favorite characters? I look forward to reading them. Again, thank you guys for hanging on me with this video. It's kind of long and a bit winded, but it was a 4-hour movie, so I try to cover as much as I could. And again, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Stay safe, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Bye.